Here's our Sunny Brook fifth wheel. Get a new roof on this. Got some of it ripped up. Got a vent right here. See, all that's rotted out. I'm gonna have to fix that for sure. At least get a decent little piece in there to fix that. Let's see over here. You see how chucked out that is? That's the problem with trying to put a coating on here. Try to put a coating on, you've got to really clean all that off. It's almost impossible to get cleaned off. It really is. That's why the coatings don't stick, and that's another reason why we don't do them. Because we want to make sure you get your money's worth, and if we can't guarantee that you get your money's worth, we'd rather not do the job. So we got over here. We cut this in here. We're just trying to get a measurement on the skylight line so I can make a curb, but we cut into that. But you can see again on here how little room you've got underneath that air conditioner. Looks like a leak right there. See if I can get in on it. Looks like it's got a leak right there. It's breached. Can't really see anything else up underneath there. Someone had patched this a couple of times here, on here. Got something wrong with the shoulder here. We'll find out. Maybe we can ding that back out for him and fix it. A couple more patches right here. We'll keep you updated on the Sunny Brook. More to come on the Sunny Brook. We shut the camera off, and then I noticed all this. Look at all these screws all rusted. Look how much caulk they got on this. And that's supposed to keep you watertight, but obviously it isn't, because you can see all the rusty screws that we're pulling out. So, then on that other side where that was all a mess over there, you see that vent right there behind you. This was the vent that came in there. They had all this silicone in there. Yeah, they really wadded that up in there. And again, there's your rusty screws. So, that crack right there. That is, I don't know if that's quite a tube or not. Maybe close to a tube. But you really don't need all this on here. If you seal these right and you got your curb up there, you don't need to do that. We seal every one of these little holes. We don't slather all that on there. It just traps water. Like on this here, that's just a water trap. That's all that is. So. But we'll let you know what else we find. Alright, we're back at our Sunny Brook. Got a little bit of rock going on here. We're going to have to replace this sheet. Right here. You can see, these are some of the stuff that we keep stressing. This is where the vent was. Vent was leaking. They're all going to leak that way. Really far and few between that we see where they don't leak, where they don't cause some serious damage. So once we pull this piece up, we'll check, make sure. Got the foam under there. It looks dry. It looks like it just really damaged the decking there. Then we still have that other one up that way. So we'll see how much we got. But for now, that's where we're at with this. We'll keep you updated. All right. So we got all the roof decking up on this coach. And the other was rotted really bad. Had quite a few places that were rotted. And I'll show you another problem in a minute there. So what we're going to do now is seems fine over here, all this insulation. So we're going to start setting the new sheets down. It's going to be a radiant barrier. We always use radiant barrier. If you're going to replace it, you might as well get something that'll help the coach out, so that'll reflect a lot more UV light back into the atmosphere, but it'll keep the coach cooler in the summer. It'll keep it warmer in the winter. That, coupled with the GAF EverGuard product that we use, it's going to be a real big difference on this coach. So we just gotta glue and screw down. Here's another. They always do this right here. We put these in. Right up underneath here is a protection so you can't put a screw through the wire. There's a piece of little metal tubing in there. If you can see that, there's a piece of metal tubing down there. But what it does is it'll start to compromise. See if I can get a view of that. It'll start to compromise and pinch the wire. So these are actually required. Same with these ones here. See if I can get a better view of that. But we put one in here as well. You don't want that piece to start rubbing as the coach is moving. You don't want it to start rubbing, because if one of these wires breaks, you have to tear everything apart to try to find that wire. And that's what and these things, I figured it out. There's a video that we did. It's a Keystone Premier, and I figured it out with the receipt when I bought these, but they turned out to be 8 cents a piece for these. That's buying them at Home Depot. So we went around and put all these in everywhere we needed to throughout the whole coach, all around there. Alright, so what we also did, and this is pretty common, we find this all the time in almost every RV when we rip up a roof, but we put these, what they call redheads, and all they do is they just protect the wire. I showed on another video the Keystone Premier, and just buying the bag at Home Depot, not in big bulk like these big companies could buy them. These are 8 cents a piece. So here's the concern. You can see how sharp this is here, and actually I think this blue wire is starting to breach right there, and the black one, because they don't have anything protecting that right there. They don't have anything. So there's a couple more right here. Well, we went all through the coach. We get one in here just to show you that's pretty sharp though. I'm wondering how these ones are doing under here, just out of curiosity, but they're pretty tight too. You can't really pull them that easy. So that means when the coach is racking and twisting, it's going to start pinching on this. So this is your antenna cable. When you go, hey, my antenna or my TV isn't working. Well, this could be why. Right here. Now, what are you going to do then? You're going to start tearing it out of the wall, trying to look for it. But actually, yeah, I can see that one's breached too. Way down in there, it's starting to get. You can see it a few more times. That thing may not work properly. So we'll go around and put all these in. We got these few here. We did those. So we went around the whole coach, both sides, checking them out. And this alone could really save the coach. That was just on the other side. That's the driver's side. This is the passenger's side. Come over here. You see these ones are breached right here. You see that little scar in there. Alright, so we got the decking going down, and there's a gap that you put in here. If you actually read the decking, it'll say keep an 1/8 inch gap, but by the time you put it on there, you leave an 1/8 inch. Sometimes we have a little bit left over. We're going to put the strips on there like we normally do, but I want it to have strength. I don't want the strips that we put on, those buffer strips, I don't want them to kind of sag in that gap. So that's what we're going to do, is put them on there. This one's a lot tighter. I've got about the 1/8 inch. And the shame about it is when they do build these, they don't usually put the trusses 16 on the center. So they may be off just a squeak, and we may have to adjust it. So anyhow, that's what the foam is. And then we even got sander up here for the high spots. And we got this transition that goes down, slopes down pretty good. That's what this is for. So we're halfway there. This is a radiant barrier sheathing. Looks just like this right here, that silver backing. And we use that on all of them anyways when we have to redeck. You might as well, if you're going to do it, you might as well get something out of it. It'll reflect a lot of the UV light, UV rays, keep the coach cooler and warmer in the winter. that's where we're at now. We got it mostly all screwed down. It's all screwed and glued, and ready to get going. Okay, so we're back here at our fifth wheel, our Sunny Brook, and everything seemed pretty good. We got all the rot, obviously all the rotted decking off, and now what we're doing is just screw down all the decking up there. Got one more sheet to go in the back here. Glued it all down, screwed it all down. Use some good screws too. These are actually wafer heads. That'll pull it down real tight. So we use those. Then now we're going to end up stapling this piece back down once we get it right. It looks like got a little bit of a warp to it. Some of the bigger ones like this, see how it's popping out, we'll cut that and we'll put another piece in there so it's all nice and smooth going down the coach. Then what this is here, if you're wondering, sometimes these trusses are not 16 on center. So if they're off just a bit, we're going to put a buffer piece on here. And when we put that piece on, I don't want it to fall in that little gap and have a little depression. So we just put this in here. It's just real light. Actually, it's window foam. It's what it is, door and window foam insulation for installing like doors and windows. It's just not as rigid, so it'll still allow it to flex. You're supposed to leave a gap on the OSB. If you read it, it'll tell you to leave an 1/8" gap between them. So that's about where we are now. Everything else is looking pretty good. We got the sander up here in case we have some high spots. And again, we got this one filled in. You got a good transition going down on this. So filled that one in. Then we'll get another buffer piece up on the front here. It'll go over this one. The buffer piece will go over, and it'll protect the main roofing. And then this will go down like this. We'll staple it down like I said, and then once we do that, we'll put yet another buffer piece on there. I don't want these little sharp edges right here. I don't want them to interfere with or compromise the main roof. So, and then something else we're going to do is go around this whole coach, the whole entire coach. He wants to go around, get all this silicone out of here. This is terrible stuff. So we'll get all that out of there and reseal this as well. Probably, I think we're going to put on a new awning right here. So the decking that we use is a radiant barrier sheathing. Here's a piece of it right there. It's got aluminum foil on the back. What that does is it reflects UV light, keep the coach cooler in the summer, it'll keep it warmer in the winter. That coupled with our TPO that we use will really take some stress off of the AC system as well. So that's where we're at now. And we're, like I said, we'll end up patching this here. If I didn't mention it, we'll cut this out and put a new one on so it's all smooth. So that's where we're at. Alright, so we get the strips down. And we get some sanding going on. We'll keep going. All we're doing now is just sanding down those joints. Because this OSB isn't always as true as some other woods. You know, sometimes one will be just a shade higher, and when you come and make some bends, especially on the front there, where it starts to transition down, sometimes it'll be a little higher, so we just sand them all down so they look good. Got to pin this piece back in. We stapled all this back down here. We got that so far. Patch that little corner right here, one that had the burp in it. We'll put some tape on here to cover the little seams over here. So we're moving along.